So in today's episode of Help My Workout, we have Ricardo Estremera. Ricardo, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking to get out of Help My Workout today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me in your podcast. So today, I really want to know and ask you about how to improve my core that often affects my lower back in my event, which is a 3,000 meter steeplechase, which is a very high impact event. And basically, I just want to get stronger. I want to be pain free, because often it actually leads to have problems even sleeping. And as you know, sleeping is a very important part of recovery.
Got it. Okay. So you're a high level athlete when it comes to running. Tell us a little bit about what your average workout is like.
Well, my average workout, I'll say it depends the day, but when it comes to a very hard day, it consists to usually workout in the morning that could last between 2 to 2.5 hours, and that includes either reps, very high intensity speed work that could be around 4 minute pace mile, for example, or something more like 5K oriented, which would be longer but intense with a high intensity still. With in the afternoon, I usually then go for my second run. Then includes maybe 5K to like 8K, kind of so between 3 and 5 miles in the afternoon, plus a session of gym. So that usually would be like my hardest day. So in total, just in mileage, I'll say it's probably between 13 to 16 miles in that day only, plus the gym.
Got it. Okay. And then tell me about like when are you experiencing like the discomfort, pain, low back? Is that just an ongoing, constant thing? Is it post workout? Is it just at night or after a particular type of workout? Tell me about that.
So it's a constant thing. I'll say that it bothers me, especially when I spend too much time. As I'm also a professor, when I spend time in my office sitting down, it hurts me a lot. Also, it bothers me at night. Usually, after several hours of sleep, sometimes I wake up automatically just because of the pain. So it's something that is often when it comes about running. I notice that also sometimes I get very stiff in that area, and it affects a little bit like my posture. I feel like I'm not running as smooth as I always do, and sometimes yeah, even affecting my hamstring in the same side of my lower back, which is my right side.
Got it. Okay. And what are you doing for as like recovery, mobility, stretching, myofascial? What are you doing for all those things?
So usually when it comes about recovery, I like to, I'm not the best, I have to say, with doing that. I should do better.
Right.
But usually I do a lot of stretching. I do a lot of mobility. Often also I do a lot of rolling. I roll a lot. And also I use those those boots that are for compression, I guess, for
Okay.
your legs. And basically pretty much that's it.
Okay. So are you spending time like rolling after each workout? And which areas are you rolling out?
I won't lie to you, I don't roll every day.
Okay.
I just roll when I have time. Usually it's right at, usually I always do it at the end of a
Hmm.
workout. I don't do it at the beginning.
Okay.
I usually do it at the end. And usually the way I do my rolling, I start with my hamstrings.
Hmm.
I go like the roller that I have. I try to just use one hamstring at a time instead of both hamstrings at the same time.
Right.
So I start with each leg separately. So I do hamstring, then each side for my IT band, etc. Then I go for the front part of the quads, right, in the quad area, and then I go down to my calves or the side of my calves, and the same thing I repeat with the other leg. And sometimes with I depending on time, I actually do my glute and my back. So I just like put it in my back and start rolling back and forth.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. And then are you doing any like stretching post rolling, or just you're just doing the rolling and then
Interesting enough, I do the stretching and then I do the rolling. So I don't know if I'm doing it that right either.
okay. Ideally you want to do the rolling first. So you want to break up that soft tissue, the fascia, and then doing the stretching post roll would be the ideal order of doing that. Okay.
Okay.
Uh using a lacrosse ball, any like thing like that for like certain trigger point areas and the hip flexors.
Yeah. So recently, maybe like not recently, but maybe like 4 months ago, I bought this ball. It's like around this big,
Right.
and it vibrates. Or
Awesome.
those by
Yeah.
yeah, and I use it once in a while, but sometimes, especially in the area of the hamstring, but sometimes it gets so tender that I cannot like it just gets very painful, and I cannot hold it because of the pain.
Got it. All right. So for us, like with the running, are you getting to a point where you feel like you're not able to like maintain your posture? You don't feel that efficient. Tell me about any of that.
Yeah, I do notice that in some occasion, if it hurts a lot, I notice that my form is not the same. I feel some kind of unbalanced. Even when I'm running, the strides are different.
Mm-hmm.
When the impact, when I actually when I get the impact from my right leg, which is like the issue usually is my right part of my body,
Right.
um, I just don't feel the same. I feel kind of awkward,
Right.
almost like when a car is not well aligned. So
Right.
I kind of just not well.
Got it.
And also I'll say that sometimes yeah, it's even when I'm walking, not necessarily even training in something when I'm walking. Sometimes if the pain is high, it affects even the way I walk.
Got it. Okay. Is your pain just on your right side of your low back and hip, or is it on both sides?
It's only my right side. I never have problems in my left side.
Okay, got it. All right. And with that, and you're feeling like the misalignment with your gait and your running, I mean, you probably definitely have some alignment issues in your SI joint of the hip, the pelvis itself. The right side may be anteriorly rotated. That can be due to some hip flexor tightness, um, and some posterior weakness below the hip as well. So cool deal. So what we're going to do, we're going to break away. We're going to go into some exercises and some modalities that you can do for yourself to relieve tension, build that strength within the core and the spine itself, and working on that endurance of those muscle groups so you can sustain that as you run and as you progress. And we want to make sure that you're actually performing at your highest level. We know you're a high level performer. You want to keep that in check.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So let's recap about the things that Ricardo's dealing with. So Ricardo's a high-level performance runner, and he's having some pain in his right lower back, also the hip also on the right side, and he's having this pain like throughout the day, at night. He's noticed that he has a misalignment when he's running. He can feel the misalignment when he's running. His right side doesn't feel like his left when he's striking. His event is the steeplechase, so he does a lot of pushing off of his left side and leading with his right. So we want to make sure we get a balance of the lower body and the trunk itself for Ricardo. So we're going to go over some things to help combat that and to help regain that strength and alignment in the spine and hips. Well, the first thing I'm going to show is a release for the hip flexors, the psoas muscles. Again, most likely he's dealing with the SI issue, rotation of the spine, of the hip on the right side, and that also can cause a leg length discrepancy, meaning the right leg is longer than the left because of the rotation in the pelvis. So what we want to do is release some of the tension on that right anterior side, and we're going to use a lacrosse ball for that He has a vibrating ball a little bit bigger than this that he can also use. If it's too big, he can find a ball that's smaller that we're going to put just above the pelvic bone inside and just up above the pelvic bone here. We're going to do this laying on the floor. All right, so we're going to take the ball and we're going to find the bony prominence of the hip here. We're just going to go just medial of that, like downward, inward, and you're going to place the ball just in that area, okay? And we're going to lay it down onto the stomach and just have the pressure of the ball in that area. If it's very tight, you're going to feel some, pain or discomfort, but you're going to lay on here for a good 45 seconds to 60 seconds to let the ball do its work. We can also work on bending that knee at the same time. It's going to give you a little bit more of a tension in the area. Okay, so that's the first thing that he can do. So working on decreasing the tension in that area. He's already doing foam rolling. At least a few times a week, he's rolling out his entire lower extremities, the legs, hamstring, quads, calves as well. So that's great. One thing he did mention is that he's doing that after he stretches. Ideally, you want to do that prior to stretching. That's going to help decrease some of the tension, break up the fascia, so you get more of a stretch. Okay. So the second thing we're going to do, we're going to use the same ball. We're going to go to just the pocket area of the hip on the right hand side. So you're going to again find that bony prominence, of the hip here, and you're just going to go just below that. And that's going to be the area of your tensor fascia. We're going to go back over to our side, keep the ball there, and you're going to rotate or roll over the ball onto the right side. And we're just going to kind of roll up and down and then back and forth across that muscle. This is a hip flexor and hip rotator muscle, but it also leads down into your IT band. So again, spinning a good, at least 60 seconds. You're rolling out that area, finding the spots that's tender, and just sticking on those areas. All right. So the third thing we're going to do is a hip flexor stretch. So we're going to be in this position, stretching out the right side. You're going to have your torso up tall and drop your hips forward, feeling the stretch through the anterior thigh and hip on the right side. You're going to take your arm up, and you're going to rotate or lean towards your left side, holding that stretch. Again, you're going to do this for about 45 seconds. You can come out of it for a few seconds and go straight back into it again. So the fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to work on doing some myofascial for the back, but on the opposing side that he's having the discomfort. So we're going to go to the left spinal muscles, so above the hip, in that lumbar low back area. We're going to place the ball. We're going to make sure the ball is on the muscle tissue and not on the spine. Okay. And we have our legs elevated on the ball, or you can use a chair for this. The chair is probably better, so you're easier to stabilize. But we're going to let the hips just drop and relax into that ball that's underneath your back, your spine. Okay. So in most cases, when you have anterior tightness in your hip flexors, you're going to have some compensating tightness in the opposing muscles on the opposite side of your back. So we're going to work on releasing that. Again, around 60 seconds or so, just relaxing onto the ball. And then you can also take the ball just slightly higher, an inch or two, keeping it on those lumbar muscles and not on the spine, and just relaxing your body into the ball. So we're going to do next is go into a stretch. So we just do a little myofascial on that left low spine. And what we're going to do next, we're going to use a foam roller. We're going to use, since he has a foam roller, we're going to use the foam roller. We're going to put it underneath our back, just above the hips. Drop the body over, relaxing. We're going to lengthen, let the right leg go out straight. That's his affected side. And we're going to pull behind the thigh, that left leg towards the chest. And again, we're going to hold this stretch for about 45 to 60 seconds. So this is stretching out that glute, a little bit of the low back on the left side. And we want to get the lengthening of the hip flexors on the right side. This kind of helps realign the pelvis itself. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go into some exercises that Ricardo can do. Like he mentioned, he's already doing some core stuff. He knows about the breathing and core engagement. You always want to make sure you're stabilizing the spine with any movement. It being the running, it being the workout, doesn't really matter. Core is always a primary concern. But what we're going to do here first, if we're going to do just a single leg bridge, so we're going to work on activation of that right glute and hamstring. Right now he already has some soreness and tightness in that area, so he does want to make sure he actually rolls out that area and stretches it, and also icing after doing the rolling and stretching would help as well. He's going to be left leg dominant because that's his pushing leg when he's going over the steeplechase. When he's doing any type of strengthening exercise, he's going to always be dominant on that left glute. So we're going to work on that right glute to help balance out that pelvis a little bit. So we're going to go the left leg out straight. We're going to go ahead and engage that core, stabilizing the hips, lifting up, breathing out, and controlling it back down. Keeping that core engaged on the lift, maintaining engagement on the lowering at the same time. And it's okay to go ahead after that. If you want to do a combination, you can rest for a minute or so and just do a combination with both legs going up, both hips going up into the bridge. And just holding in and activating that low back along with the pelvic floor at the same time. So you're getting that bracing through the anterior, also through the posterior of the spine, kind of locking in around those SI areas and lowering it back down. Okay. Again, going up, holding it for a few seconds, and then keeping that engagement, bringing it back down. And one thing with core engagement, if you have true core engagement, you're going to feel the tightness through the anterior and also through the small of the back, the multifidus muscles of the spine. When they activate with the anterior, that's when you have true core engagement and you have that true spinal stability. And you really want to focus on that as you go through the motion. All right, so the next thing we're going to show is a core stabilizing exercise while walking using a band. So I call it a proud walk. I mean, you're going to be standing up nice and tall, upright position, shoulders are back. Go ahead and lock that core in, engage it, and we're going to walk the body forward, keeping that engagement, body up tall, bringing it back slowly. Keeping that activation on the forward motion and also as you come back. So our goal here is to lock the pelvis in place while you're moving through your legs, walking forward, keeping the core fully engaged. The last thing I'm going to show you is just a standing march, and I'll progress that into like a little jog. So the whole goal with this is stabilize the pelvis muscles with movement. So you want that core activation, that low back activation, keeping your body in upright position, lifting the arm leg, exhaling on the movement. Okay, working on this, feeling that tightening, that corset around the body itself while you're moving your arm and leg. The whole key here is not to have too much shifting in the movement as you lift your arm and leg. Okay, a way to progress that once you kind of get that down is take it to a light in-place jog. So you're going to go ahead and activate those pelvis muscles and just on the balls of your feet, breathing and engaging. Okay, and of course you can carry this out into your actual run itself. And the whole goal is to be able to maintain that engagement with your breath through the duration of your run. Starting off, you may only be able to do it for maybe a half mile or a mile, whatever it may be, but the goal is to be able to have that endurance to carry you throughout. So each of these exercises I just showed you are very foundational, but they're going to help you with that foundational core endurance They'll help you with your efficiency of your running, helps your posture. You'll be able to go through your entire run, maintain that alignment. That will be your goal. It may not be like right away maintaining that alignment through the mileage that you're doing, but the goal is to be able to get to the point where you're able to maintain that mileage, have that stability in the spine, and decrease that pain or eliminate the pain altogether. So Ricardo's going to go through these exercises that I showed you today along with the stretching and modalities, and he's going to get back with us in the next few weeks to see how he's doing, and we'll probably post that as well. But if you have interest on being on Help My Workout, there's the link in the description below. Just click on that, put in your information, and hopefully we'll see you on Help My Workout. But like this video and make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.